Good morning, YouTubers. Today I'm doing the prep work for a picnic shoulder. What a picnic shoulder is, you have it's the shoulder of the pig. If you can see here, the skin is still on it. This shank here will go down to the feet, and this comes up to the shoulder. Right above here, there's also a cut called a Boston butt. Sometimes you get it with the bone in or the bone out, but it's a better cut. It's a little bit leaner. It's more tender cut. But this it's a little bit of a tougher cut, but it's perfect for barbecuing and smoking. And I did some prep work already. If you can see, like right here, there's a little piece of garlic, and all I did was take my trusty knife, poke holes, and I shoved some garlic cloves in here. There's about I'd say half to 3/4 of a head of garlic inside this pork roast. So basically, as it's cooking, that garlic's going to add flavor into it and everything else. Also, what I did is I went along and I done several injections. This is just pure apple juice, and all you do is you poke it down, you squeeze it in, poke it down, squeeze it in, and sometimes you can see where it starts. You see where it starts puffing up, and that's just adding more flavor to it. Again, as it cooks down, that apple juice is going to start concentrating, and all the sugars and everything else is going to get inside the meat, and it's going to help break down the tissue or the fat inside the meat and just make it even more tender and juicy. Okay, I'm using the same rub that I used in the chuck roast. I had quite a bit left, so I didn't feel like doctoring any of my base rub up. My base rub is basically salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and that's all I do for my base rub. This I added some chili powder to it, and it gives the bark, the outside, it gives it a nice little zing to it. And when I did the chuck roast last week, it was a big hit and it was so good. So I got plenty left. So why mess with the original batch? I'll just use the rest of that up. To start this off, what we're going to do, get some good old-fashioned mustard. Doesn't have to be Dijon, doesn't have to be nothing fancy. Dijon and anything else would just add to the flavor. But just when you rub it in, and what this is going to do, because since I washed all the blood and everything else that came with the packaging off of the roast, this is going to help that dry rub adhere better to the roast. Let's see. I got my son Kyle doing my recording today. My wife is out with my daughter having a mother-daughter day. So say hi, Kyle.
How you doing?
Okay, we just rub it on, pat it down, make sure we get everything covered. We want all parts covered. And again, like I did last week, this is going to sit overnight. I'll start this roast first thing in the morning, maybe a little bit earlier than I did the last roast because this is bigger. But before I put it on, if I think it needs more rub, I'll add more rub to it. If not, I won't. Okay. Now on this side, this is all skin, so it's thick. It really won't render down, but it kind of help protect the meat underneath with the heat. But underneath you have some fat, and so what I did is I scored it. Again, just with the knife, just went down and did put a little score marks in there, and that'll help some of the heat get into the meat. Plus, that'll help some of the rub get into the meat as well. And can't be mad at that. Okay, so again, we go around. We give it a good dousing, good coverage. Make sure we run our fingers with it inside those grooves. Because what's going to happen is if I would have smoked this without scoring it, this skin would have started drying up and eventually would have cracked anyways. So this way I'm just kind of helping it along. But as I help it along, I'm also going to add some extra flavor to it. Okay. So now that that's done, we're going to cover it up. I'm going to have Kyle pause it real quick. I got to go wash my hand. Okay, I'm back. Hands are all clean. We're going to ripping a little bit, but that's why I got 2 pieces of tin foil. We're going to just fold this up. And mainly the reason why I'm doing this is this has salt in it, so it's going to draw some liquid out of the pork. And since I'm putting it in my fridge, I don't want any of the liquid to get onto my fridge. So we'll fold this up nice and tight. Fold this up. I might add one more layer to it. I'm gonna put this right there for a minute. Okay, lay this down. Put this over here, about right there. There we go. Hold this up again, nice and tight. Put it up here. Hold this up here. Okay, now to the fridge we go. Hope I have space. If not, I gotta make space. But it'd be all good. Oh yeah, plenty of room. And we put that in there for overnight. Starting tomorrow morning, wake up bright and early, put it on the smoker, and we'll have a day of smoking pork shoulder. So until then, later, Gator. Okay, good morning, guys and girls. I kind of jumped the gun on you guys a little bit. I woke up at 5 o'clock, started prepping everything. It was way too early to wake anybody else up the video. So now I have my wife on the phone, and it's about 10 o'clock, so the thing's been on for about 4 or 5 hours. And as you can tell, she's looking very, very good. I keep rotating it. The bone's starting to come away, so that's a good sign. I put this in here to show me where the hot spots are, and right now, right in the center, in the back, it's about 200 degrees. My thermometer is reading 250, so that just lets me know where everything drops down for the heat. First time I'm basing it with just pure apple juice. And get it. And just base it, make sure it stays nice and moist. Yesterday, as I mentioned on the recording, on the video, I sliced it, and as you can see, it's starting to pull away. If I wouldn't have sliced it, the skin would have dried out eventually anyways and started to crack. This way it just looks a little better, and it helps the juices and stuff get in there. Plus, I keep my rub out here and rub it down, get into the cracks, that way the flavor gets in there, and it makes it nice and juicy and tasty. Okay, here's my fire. Looks like I can add a few more pieces of wood and a couple of handful of charcoal. One, 2 handfuls of charcoal. Small little handful of apple wood, and that'll keep it going. So we'll check back in a couple more hours, because I only have 15 minutes that I can put on a video, so I won't do as many as I did last time. So check back in a couple hours. So till then, later, Gator. Okay guys, it's 12:30, so the pork has been on for about 6.5 hours. I put the meat thermometer in, and it's reading about close to 170 internally. So what I'm going to do now is, just like I did with the chuck roast, I'm going to take it out. Got the aluminum foil. I'm going to take it out, put it in this aluminum tub. That way I don't have any leakage. And then I'm going to wrap it with aluminum foil, and first I'm going to add some apple juice. Add it for the liquid, and then it'd be just like braising. Have it there, and we'll wait for the temperature to come up to about 200, and it'd be pulled pork tender. It's going to be so good. If you can tell, all the bark is so nice and yummy all the way around. This is going to be some good pork. So we'll see you in about another 3-4 hours, and I'll show you the end product. See you later, Gators. Okay guys, we're at 4:30. I put it on at 6 in the morning, so that's 16, that's about 10.5 hours. I just took it off. It's been resting for a good half an hour to an hour, and now we're ready for the unveiling. Wow, look at that. It just looks so good. And it's reading at, it's all clouded up, but it's reading, just looks like just right at 200, so this thing should pull apart real nice and tender like. There's so much juice in the bottom of this that once I do pull it apart and the pork mixes with the juice, it's going to be even better. So let's see how good I did at pulled pork tender, my Wolverine claws. So we put it in. Oh, look at that, just pulling away. Some areas are still a little rough, but it's still pulling away from the bone. Just can't get a good grip on it. So as I do this, I'm going to pull a piece off, and I'm going to have my son Kyle taste it, who volunteered to be my guinea pig. Let's get him a piece with bark. Still real hot, but I'm going to have him taste this little piece with the bark. Look at the pink smoke ring. It's really nice. It's really hot. And Kyle, that's for you.
Alright.
Oh shit.
Very good. Nice and tender, juicy. Bark's got a lot of flavor.
Sorry about that, folks. We had a little mishap. Lesson learned: when you're using Wolverine claws, don't use an aluminum foil tin, because what happened is I poked through it and all the juice started running out and down my leg, and it was hot. But as you can see, this thing is just pulled pork tender. Getting ready to probably turn off the video and tear this stuff up. When I get done, we'll turn it back on and I'll show you the final product once I get the bone out and everything, and we'll be ready to go. But until then, I'll see you later, Gator. Okay folks, this is the end product, nice and shredded up. Next time I think I'm going to just go with the roasting pan. It seems that it'll hold up to the shredders easier. With this, we're having baked beans, a nice salad, coleslaw for those that want coleslaw, mac and cheese, and corn on the cob. So from my family to yours, we'll see you later, Gator.